America is not a racist country.
Ladies and gentlemen, Allensworth is a historically black town, a town that has been left without water due to racist policies. So, this story actually popped up shortly after what happened down in Jackson, Mississippi, and we know that situation is still terrible. Racist policies leave Blacktown without water. Residents use technology to develop water out of thin air. Hmm. Good for them. A small historically black town, this is in California, uses technology to create water out of thin air after racist policies left it the water infrastructure, and it was just like Jackson, very outdated, insufficient, really was not serving the people well. KQED reports that Allensworth, a farming town in California with a population of about 500, about 60 miles north of Bakersfield, has had several issues with water infrastructure. In February, the town's water pumps failed. And a few months later, the water system broke again. So it failed, they got it fixed, and then it failed again. Valerie Contreras, an Allensworth resident and the general manager of Allensworth Community Services District, said the breakdowns were so frequent she kept extra gallons of store bought water just in case. You would think it's just water, but it's a necessity to use a restroom, to wash, to do anything, Contreras told KQED. The town's only drinkable water source comes from one spigot in the center of town. Wow, powered by hydro panel systems that pull moisture out of the air and turn it into water. The hydro panel system is part of a pilot program with a source in Arizona based renewable drinking water company. The efforts is the work of residents and unpaid volunteers teaming up with partners to raise grant money. Today, the state of California is going through one of the worst mega droughts in its history. According to the state, all 58 counties are under a drought emergency proclamation, and more than 1 million residents have access to clean water. The historic drought is even affecting the almonds, avocados, and the state's rice crops. According to NBC Bay Area, Allensworth was a thriving Black community in the early 1900s, named after the founder. And so it was Lieutenant Colonel Allen Allensworth, who was born into slavery and escaped and fought for the Union in the Civil War. Back then, the town got its water from a nearby White River. After years went by, white farmers diverted the stream for their crops, cutting off the town's water supply. Yeah, that sounds like America. Absolutely sounds just like things they do in America. The town then hired a local digging company, a company that dig and everything to create ground wells. But the Pacific Farming Company violated its contract and dug less than half of the wells they were hired to dig. So, in other words, they ripped these people off. They paid for the wells and never got all the wells they paid for. A typical America. The town sued, but eventually reached a settlement that left it in debt. So by the 1920s, Black residents were on their way out. Today, the town is mainly made up of Latino farm workers, and residents are still tapping the ground. Mm-mm-mm. Wow. So, Sherry Hunter, the president of Allensworth Community Service District, said, however, residents use the water for flushing, showering, and washing dishes since the water is contaminated with arsenic. Wow. So, just like in Jackson, they were using contaminated water because I guess they felt like they had nothing else to use. But, since then, their circumstances have changed. But how terrible! How terrible. So, this Black town lost their water because white farmers took the water for their crops and left them with nothing. And believe me, everything going on in Jackson, Mississippi has everything to do with race. That town is 83% Black. And look at what's happening. And it's a problem that they knew for a long time, went back 100 years. And they had ample time to fix that problem, and they never did. They didn't care. And they still don't care. They don't care at all. You don't even hear that Joe Biden is trying to send money there, but you hear on the news every day all the money he's still sending over to Ukraine. And trust me, there are many Allen Worths all around this nation. We're just hearing about a few of the locations where Black residents are having problems with the water. So, y'all, please tell me what you think about this story. I'm glad that Allensworth was able to resolve their issue by using, the water. Because remember, it was a man from Fitzgerald, Georgia. That's where my mother's from. He came up with that machine that, you can take the moisture out of the air and convert it over to water. And they tried to sabotage his machine. You know why? Because that idea did not come from the ones with the high IQ, it came from a Black man. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.